I got you. Ready?
As you call that radio, we are live. Yes, sorry. It's an absolute honour to welcome onto today's show Ken McCluskey of the Bluebells. Thank
Hello
you.
There. How are you?
Are we good?
I can hear you good.
Yes,
I can hear you good.
Last time I met you, we were at the Glasgow Barrel and Ballroom.
Well, that's correct. That was a brilliant night. That was for Soapy, the big tribute to Soapy Fest, yeah.
Absolutely, and you were at the Crescendo, the big encore finale with Colin Mustard doing Young at Heart. What was it? Do you still get a buzz playing somewhere at the Barras?
Aye, I mean, I think the Barras is now the best gig in Glasgow, isn't it? You know, it's got the history, it's got the vibe. But, you know, any music in it. I've never seen a bad gig at the Barras, to tell you the truth. Honestly, I've seen quite a few different things. It's just the atmosphere. It's when you walk in the door, you know, it's a nice welcome. As long as you're not hiding a sword or anything like that, or you know,
you're not going to get through the metal detector.
But no, it's really nice, and because I've been there a few times now and performing there as well, you get to know all the staff and all that. So it's really cool.
They've got a high staff retention. It seems like that. You know,
it's the same people for years, yeah. Which is always a good sign. I always think if somebody can keep their staff, it's always a good sign of a good working environment. You know, I always like that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I know it was great, but that was a particularly good night put together with yourself, John McMustard, and the team, and it was really brilliant. And Gavin Mitchell was helping out, and it was lovely. It was just wonderful, and the audience were really. I just thought the audience were very involved. Yeah, and they had bought into it because obviously the history of the Mustards and all the other bands, you know, it was really cracking. So I was kind of tagged onto that. You know what I mean? I was asked along by John, and so I'd done a few things with John before. I'd worked at the college, Glasgow Kelvin College, which used to be Stowe, and we put out one of their EPs on the Mustards EPs on a EP sort of thing. So I got to know him then. So a couple of times I worked with John on and off. So that was really nice to be asked. I was privileged to be asked to do that. So it was great. I was well chuffed. And I just thought the audience was brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful celebration of Soapy, and I think he had a very positive attitude towards live music, and I think everybody just picked up on that. And it was a celebratory atmosphere, which is the biggest mark of respect you can have to someone. Oh. So it was amazing. So when you've got that, like, so when you're asked to do like Young at Heart, which I was just thinking about earlier on, because obviously that song's usually, I think you're maybe we've had some big names on the show before, but I don't think anybody's had a song as big as that. I mean, that song's it's omnipresent. It's at weddings, karaoke, supermarkets. How do you feel?
Funerals, believe it or not, funerals as well.
How does that make you feel? Is it surreal, or how is it? Was it? Have you used it?
I think it'd be pretentious if I said, "Oh, I don't like it," and all that. You know, I mean, obviously it's great and it's really good. It's nice to hear it on the radio because you get a few bob if it's on BBC Radio 1 or whatever. Well, it's never going to be in BBC Radio 1 now. You know, it'll be in Radio 2 or occasionally it gets to Radio Scotland. But I'll tell you a good one actually. Sometimes when it's annoying, right? So we've got a new album out which we'll talk about obviously later. That's why we're here really. But with a new album out in May 20th, 24th. And the girl from Radio Scotland, I don't know, it's one of the new presenters, right? And it was the morning, she says, "Oh, we've got new stuff from the Bluebells coming up here. They've got a new album out, you know, blah, 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 blah." They played Young at Heart. Hey, we've got a new album out, here's Young at Heart. You know, instead of playing something from you're like that,
You want to get because you're wanting your new songs to get the recognition.
That's just an algorithm. So that's somebody looking at an algorithm somewhere in Raja, you know, Radioland somewhere going, "Oh, that's their biggest record. So we'll just play that instead of one of their new records." which is really, really annoying. But if I hear the song and somebody's enjoying it, or somebody asks me to sing it at a party or something, it's not a problem. It's not a problem.
Amazing.
Somebody asks you to do a karaoke, I'm like, no. Can somebody else not do that? You know what I mean? Because see, if you do it, I've done it at karaoke, right? People think you're a dick.
Aye. Because
you're singing your own song at a karaoke, you're like that, and it's number one and all that, and it's like ubiquitous, it's everywhere. That dick's trying to show off who's number one. So you tend not.
You can't win. You can't win it.
You can't win. No, you can't.
Basically, you're going to look like you're going to look bad if you don't do the song for everybody.
I know.
The song, you're going to look bad as well.
I'm just going to say before we go any further, I look as if I'm over a weighty in this camera here. Is that I'm all great. I've actually got quite a good time. And you've got a good time. Why am I so white?
It's just the lighting. It took me a wee while to figure out the lighting.
Have you the lighting proper?
Every time I move, it takes me a few months, but I think I've got the lighting a bit right.
I know. I look like old father time.
My big red head is.
I look like Santa Claus having a whitey or something like that.
Is it? So the Young at Heart. I think actually I would be correct in saying it's my mum's favourite song. I remember her playing it back in the day, but I was old enough to remember not the first time round, but the 1994 thing. I was by that point I was like I'm probably a teenager or something. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, that was. I remember like coming around again. There was an advert or something.
It was an advert for Volkswagen Golf,
and that just shows you how big adverts were back then, that it could just be so, it could change everything. But I quite like the idea of that you had to hastily reassemble the band. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Because it was a kind of, tell us about that.
So we were working as, my brother and I worked with the McCluskey brothers. There was more acoustic folk sort of stuff. We had a band, different, sometimes we had a band, sometimes we just do the two of us, kind of harmony-based acoustic music. And we did 4 albums as the McCluskey brothers. So that's what we were doing for 20 years or whatever. And around about 1993, which was 9 years after the actual release in 1984. 1984, it got to number 8 in the charts. Then 9 years later, it got to number 1. But when it was climbing up the charts, when it was maybe, I think it came in at number 10 or something like that, right, the first week. And it was all because of the advert, because we weren't a band then at any point. And it was played on the radio all the time, and it was kind of May, June, kind of summertime. So it's a good summertime, feel-good sort of driving song, in it? But a country western sort of thrown in there on a beat. So a record company phoned us up, but we hadn't been signed to the record company for, I don't know, 8 years or something, 6 years maybe, something like that. So the guys, we never got dropped. You know how bands get dropped by the record company? We never ever got dropped. They always kind of held on to us, but they just stopped paying us wages. So we just did a bunk, basically. So they give you an advance, and then you have to pay that advance back. And then they give you another advance, you have to pay that advance back. Well, it got to the stage where we weren't paying the advance back. So if you don't pay the third advance back, they don't have to pay. But they can still hold on to you, sort of thing. So we just did as many things as we could do for them to drop us, but they never dropped us. But we got a bit of legal advice from the Musicians Union, and he just says, you know what, see if you just go out and record your own album, they won't give a monkeys. They wouldn't even know who the McCluskey brothers are. Because what happens in major record labels is the staff, you're talking about the Barrowland staff, it's the same staff for 20, 30 years. Record companies, the staff turnover is like 100% in 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't have the same A&R people for 5 years. It doesn't happen. He's next, So they don't know who you are anyway. So we just started working as the McCluskey brothers. A few warning letters for putting out records on our own wee label, with a label called Kingfisher Records. So we were busy doing that, and we were a bit of a couple of sole traders partnership sort of thing. And it was great. We didn't make loads of money or whatever, but it was really nice. That way, if you make records, it means you can tour, and you'll get a bit of radio play, and you'll get, all that. And you get some T-shirts, make them, and sell it. Sometimes you sell more T-shirts, you sell records, that kind of thing. But it's the difference between.
Jason Dawkins was saying that the musicians were not musicians, were glorified T-shirt sellers now.
That's it. We should all have a stall at the bars. You know what I mean? As a side hustle. So, but that, you know what, that was really good. It was total freedom. You could do whatever you want. You didn't have an A&R person telling you what to do. So I really love those McCluskey Brothers records for that. You know, no producers, just produced them ourselves. So if you get it wrong or if you kind of bugger it up, it's your fault, really, but nobody to blame. You know what I mean? So I really like doing that. I love doing that. Anyway, on maybe about our third McCluskey Brothers album, we got a phone call from the record company. Hi, Kenny, it's great. You're going to be #1, mate. And I'm like, who's this? Oh, Roger. Hello, Roger. How are you, mate? You know, all that. And I went, oh, that's great. And he said, look, I think we've got the midweek. You got the midweek in the midweek chart, and they know what number you're going to be through the sales in all the shops, Virgin or HMV or whatever, all the wee record shops, chart return shops. So they said, you're going to be #1 next week. What do you think about coming down and doing Top of the Pops? And I says, well, we're not really a band. We're working as the McCluskey Brothers, and we're on tour with Capper Cayley, which we were. We were the support band for Capper Cayley on that sort of tour. And that night of Top of the Pops, we were in Aberdeen. And the guy went, oh, no, you've got to do it, you've got to do it. And I went, I'd quite fancy doing it, because I love doing Top of the Pops. It's easy peasy, and you can show off, and, you know, as a musician, like, well, I do.
It was miming, wasn't it, at that time?
No, I always sang live, apart from twice. I think I've done Top of the Pops 13 times over the years.
Wow.
Only twice I mimed. Yeah, the rest of the times I sang live.
So it's everybody's live.
The backing track. So what you do is as far as the musicians' union is concerned, you've got to re-record the backing track, right? And you can choose to mime or you can choose to sing live. But I choose to sing live. So what we had was a tape of Young at Heart with no vocal on it. It's got the backing vocals on it. Yeah, it's not got the lead vocal on it. So I just sang over it's kind of karaoke, really. Sang over a
karaoke that people are glad that you're doing.
Yes, and they don't give you a doing for it. So the deal was that we were in Inverness, Aberdeen. Yes, Aberdeen with Capper Cayley, and I said, well, we've got to do this gig. We can't break our contract with Capper Cayley. I was talking a lot of shit, actually. I could have got away with it easy. But I said, I thought they owed us one. They owed us some money because they kind of screwed us a wee bit, like all these record companies do. So I said, well, you need to give David and I $2,000 each in cash when we arrive, because we haven't got any money. And you'll need to put us up in a good hotel. You need to fly us down there and get us a carry-out. Or get us a free bar and all that, which they did. And then all the other guys in the band are going, how come you're getting $2,000 in a paper bag? And I says, well, they owe us it. So we did it for 5 weeks in a row or 4 weeks in a row, and that's what the deal was. So it was great. So that we went from no money in the bank to having some money in the bank. And then with the money from Top of the Pops, we made another album. So it was simple. So it was great. It was a good way of getting your own back, sort of thing. So the corporate machine, it's all like, hey, man. So they don't care how much they pay for corporate hospitality or hotel rooms or flights or whatever, because it's all tax returnable for them. But the cash was an important one. I was like, no, I want paid. To do Top of the Pops, at the time, you get 120 quid. That's how you get performance. So imagine in London with 100 quid. I mean, it's going to last you about half an hour. So we got good cash, and we did it 4 times. It was #1 for 4 weeks, and once they used the video, so we didn't go down that week, but we did it 4 or 5 times. Now, a funny thing about that was, if you look at some YouTube versions of that, 1993, and there was a bit, see the backing track, that's what we're talking about. The backing track wasn't edited, so the musicians union are like that. All right, you have to go and re-record your backing track, but nobody re-records the backing track. You swap the tapes. So you've got a tape with the backing track you've already made. So every time you make a record, in those days anyway, you always did one without the vocal, right? So you do a mix.
Yes, an instrumental version.
You do an instrumental version, right?
And that was purely just in case something like Top of the Pops came knocking at the door.
Yeah, and they're there. You can see them, and they just swap the tapes. But you just go like that. The record company executive or whatever, or A&R guy swaps the tapes, but then they go, There's the tape, mate. We just made that in 3 hours. You've got 3 hours to record it. There's no way you're going to re-record that in 3 hours. You know what I mean? So they just do the big eye, swap it over. It was a lot of bollocks, really, but it was one of those things that was necessary for the musicians union at the time. But what they forgot was this was an unedited version of Young at Heart. So there was 8 bars actually, that went. So it's 4 bars, right? With nothing happened. So it was like, oh no, you don't want to sing the chorus again over it. That'd be 3, that'd be too much, right? So we had to make up a different thing. There was a whole with just this fiddle going on and on. So we had to make up a kind of funny thing each week. So the first one was, number 1 was techno, 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 techno. No, you're no limit. So we were like, right, I'm doing that techno, techno, techno. So I said to the sound guy, I'm going to do techno, techno. Can you get me that vocal sound of techno? And he loved it. The guy's like, oh, brilliant, yes. Techno. So we did techno, techno. The next week we did, what was the other one we did? Oh, Shabba Ranks, remember? Shabba. So I got the guy to put a kind of reggae delay on it. Shabba. That was hilarious. That was brilliant. And then the last week, when you were going out, we were going down the charts, you know, by the midweek. So we go white top hats. I always want to do that, like bye. So we white top hats and tails and all that. In the middle bit when there's no business like show business, bye. And that was the end of our career, basically. You know, that was so it was great fun. And it was, plus you're playing with your mates. You know, the Bluebells kind of made up band with a bunch of pals. So it wasn't like we were full of mercenaries or whatever, you know, it was just like guys that were our mates. So we had such a laugh. It was great.
So was that enough? Was the success of that enough to get you your advance paid? Was that you out of contract then?
Well, that paid, they said we owed them £250,000. That sold 500,000 records.
Yeah, I was going to ask, you said 800,000 according to Google.
Well, it's probably 100,000 now. No, it'd be 800,000. It'd be 800,000 now.
According to Google, but I'll take your word for it.
We've got a disc which says, I've got a disc that says 500,000 copies. So, but since then it's probably sold. You know,
sorry, it's 500,000 platinum. What's that again? Sorry.
500,000 was gold at the time.
Gold. Yeah.
So it's in my mum's house. Gold.
They've changed that though now because nobody's selling that amount of records.
Oh, nobody sells that amount of records now. No. I think you get a chocolate disc for selling 1,000.
Yeah.
Turnip waver, chocolate disc, caramel waver disc or something.
Is it true or false that the Pope said the song promoted divorce?
Apparently, I never saw this. This was a Bobby Bluebell one. His mum saw it in some paper, I think the Catholic Observer or something. The Pope wasn't happy with the fact that it was celebrating divorce, because if you remember the video, or if you're a young person, you can maybe look at the video on YouTube. It's there, and it's a woman coming down steps. It looks like a church, but it's actually a town hall sort of thing. She's come down the steps and she's got a white top hat on and a veil and a white suit on, trouser suit, and she's like, yeah, and she's celebrating her divorce. Right, so she gets in the Volkswagen, and the Volkswagen, it says just divorce at the back, and all the cans and all that, and that's lipstick in the back, just divorce, right? So see the amount of people, women of a certain age, who went, I love that song because it reminds me of my divorce, because they were happy. They were really happy not to be with a person, you know, that they didn't go on with. And I'm sure it's the same as men as well. If, you know, there's not all bad men or bad women. I think it's a mixture of both. But it was generally women who would say to me, I love that song. And it was women not that older than me, you know, the same age as my sisters and all that, a wee bit older. But they would probably be 70 now. And they would be like, that reminds me of my divorce, thank God. You know, because it's freedom. It was a song about freedom. You know, if you're in a bad marriage, be it male or female, or two females or two males or whatever, and it's not happening, you're like, yes, I'm out here. You know, so it's a release, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. And the Pope, obviously.
Well, the Pope, obviously, the Pope
on divorce.
Well, the Pope wants to be married forever, doesn't he? Yeah.
Court and controversy with the Pope. There was so I listened to the album properly today in the sunshine, which I would advise everybody to do. It's called "This Is the Bluebells," and it's on all the platforms. But support it. I get it from Last Night from Glasgow's website. Is that the best place to get it, Ken?
Yeah, last Night from Glasgow's website. I think you can get it. You get it virtual HMV and all that now as well. Yeah. But you probably get it if you're on your record shop or whatever. You can just go to lastnightfromglasgow.org, I think it is, and there's a shop there, and you could buy it. There's all different colours of vinyl. If you want the CD, I think it's £12 or something like that. I think a vinyl's it's a double vinyl, so there's 2 albums. Yes. You probably wouldn't see that with
no, I just well, you sent me the Dropbox link, and I forgot to download it before I left. But then I found it on an unnamed streaming platform. So I listened to that down by the water. And it was really good. I could hear. I mean, I always hate lazy comparisons, but I'm just trying to give people a flavour. I could hear a wee bit of Dylan there, a wee bit of Lou Reed. Also, I don't know if it's just because the sunshine was just making me happy, but it was. I don't know if enjoy the melodic sunshine by Cosmic Rough Riders. And I know that you came out before them. I was getting those kind of vibes, and I think
Well, we were all influenced by the same stuff, and all those Teenage Fan Club, all that. We were all into the Birds and Big Star and all that. I'm probably a bit older. I don't think I'm older than Danny from the Cosmic Rough Riders.
We had Danny in the show a couple of years ago.
I think he's maybe a year older than me or something. But the other guys are a bit younger. But we were all punk rockers basically.
Because Danny said he was quite old.
Once the punk rock thing sort of did its thing, it became a bit crap, and it became a bit Sham 69, Hurry Up Harry, we're going down the pub and all that became a bit shite. And guys with dugs and a bit of string and all that, pegging and all that, it wasn't really cool. So we decided to listen to more music, which was maybe our brothers and sisters' music, which was kind of late 60s. So we're kids of the 60s, really. I'm 62 born. So the Beatles and Stones and the Birds and all that was Crosby, Stills, Nash Young, all that sort of stuff. Harmony music was a real big influence on us,
it's got that classic sound, but there's also you've got we'll actually maybe play the next song, your new single, in a little bit. But we've got before we go to that, we've got No Passaran as well, which came out recently. I don't know, was it a few months ago now? I remember you sharing it.
Yeah.
How important is it for
No Passaran came out? No Passaran. See, the Bluebells, we always had this thing, because we were from a punk rock background and a kind of folky background. Me and David were from our dad was, mum and dad went folkies. And then our sisters went reggae and all that. So we always like kind of rebel music. And I think reggae music's a rebel music. I know folk music's a rebel music. And a way of, you couldn't really get away with that in the A side. So you can have Young at Heart being of the Patriot Game in the B side. Or you'd have, Forevermore, but you'd have the Ballad of Joe Hill in the B side. You know what I mean? So we always tried to leave a political message, even though we're signed to a very commercial company. Because the guys that are in the commercial, the guy who was our A&R man was Jamaican. He would, he was Trinidadian actually. So he would know a rebel song if it turned up in his suit, you know what I mean? Yeah. So rebel as in not totally anti-establishment, but making people think. Yeah. Make people think and making a political stance on things. And No Passaran was an observation. I wrote that one with Campbell Owens. He was an Aztec camera before. So I had an idea of the lyrics and I had a rough idea of the music, and I got together with Campbell when we did that. So this album's all collaborations between the different members of the band. So it's not one person writes all the songs. Can you
just go into that a wee bit, because I noticed that was on the press release as well. So what was the process before, and what's the process now? And how's
the process before? When we started off, it was Bobby's band. Bobby's the oldest guy. He was a bit older than us. So it was Bobby Bluebell's band basically, and then David and I were in a punk band called Rodeo, and he saw us and he was like, "Could you be in my band?" All that. So it was kind of his band at first. Then I started writing a wee bit, and then David started writing a wee bit. But the first album, I would say, is about 60% Bobby, just solo writing, and the rest was between me and David. And I wrote I'm Folly with Bobby as well, so that was a collaboration. But they were mostly written individually. The second album, which was 35 years later or 40 years later or whatever, Bluebells 21st Century, it was written during COVID. So I wrote 4 songs, Bobby wrote 4 songs, David wrote 4 songs. So that's 12 songs together. And this one, I was thinking, look, we've had the same band for 10 years. Campbell was from Aztec Camera, Douglas McIntyre, Port Sulphur, he runs Creep and Bent Records, loads of different bands. Mick Slavin, who's been in Delamitri, he's been in Deacon Blue for a while, and he's with Band of Leopards. So they're all writers as well. So I was thinking, as well as me, David and Robert. So I thought, look, guys, there's a way of repaying everybody here instead of with money all the time. You know what I mean? Like, if they feel part of the band, then we've got a stronger unit. You know, and the best way of making people part of the band is giving them writing credits for which are due for adding bits, because we're always adding wee bits anyway. You know, they might not add up to the structure or the fundamental songwriting, but there might be a guitar solo. You're like, oh, shit, that adds so much, or an idea for a keyboard part or something like that. So I thought, well, instead of just ignoring that, face it and say, look, guys, we're going to do this album this way. It's a collaborative album. And that's why it's called This Is the Bluebells, because it's a proper band. There's 6 of us, you know, and it gives everybody credits. And
it was time to introduce you to the band.
Yes, this is the band now.
I was going to say. So how?
Sorry, let's go back to No Passaran, right? So the No Passaran was written with me and Campbell, and it was taken down by the Clyde one day, and I saw the Passionaris statue, you know, down at bottom of Jamaica Street. And it reminded me, and I was just thinking about the rise of the right wing and bollocks like Farage and all that gaining momentum and people moaning. And it's happening just now in Castlemilk and Postle Park and everywhere. You know, people go, oh, get the refugees out, they're all fucking this and that. They're not all this and that. There's 1 or 2 bad boys, I'm sure there is. Like there's 1 or 2 bad boys in every people of any background. And of course it has to be addressed. But you don't go out the street and start burning people's houses like they do in Northern Ireland. You know what I mean? That's not the way. Vigilante is not the fucking answer. You know what I mean? So it's basically a rally against Donald Trump. And Donald Trump with these, everything's a false flag, everything's false news, everything's blah, 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 blah. Oh, I think I'll just go and invade Venezuela. I think, because guess what? They've got loads of oil, blah, blah, blah. You know, and that filters through to society. So society starts thinking, oh, we'll just take over that guy's house and burn it and send the Waynes away down the road, you know, because they're of a different colour, of a different background, and we don't understand them, you know, culturally, or, you know, or their ethnicity or their story or whatever. Now, I'm not saying everybody who's an immigrant is good or whatever, neither is everybody in society, but to paint everybody the same colour, didn't mean that, but to paint everybody with the same brush, to tar everybody with the same brush is not happening. It's no future in that. You know, it's no future, and it's start killing each other. It's dog eats dog then. So it's just addressing that.
And there's been a calculated decline, and we've witnessed with our own eyes the destruction of the NHS and the benefit system, and the austerity measures, and that has left it wide open for the far right to
that's correct.
Whip up a frenzy.
Correct.
And the amount of absolutely ludicrous stories about. I seen one today about getting free tests, people getting free Teslas after they come off the boat and stuff like that. And what was it they say, that a lie will travel around the world twice before the truth gets his shoes on, or something like that?
Well, that's right. And you get a bunch of idiots sitting there bored out their skull going, oh, I've got something to shout about. You know what I mean? They haven't done their homework. It's just loudmouths. And unfortunately, loudmouths got on the telly, you know what I mean? And also influences. The sad thing is, I see is these loudmouths bringing their kids up like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Bringing their kids up to hate. That's not what it's about. The world is for everybody. The world's for everybody. Unfortunately, we've bombed a lot of people. Been a lot of unfortunate wars that are just stupid. And there's a lot of people displaced. I'm not blaming us for everything. America's got a lot to do with it. I'm talking about the West and capitalism against countries that, have just been overtaken and smashed apart. Syria, Afghanistan. What's Afghanistan left with? You know what I mean? After 10 years of Russian occupation, American occupation, and then they leave them to Jesus God. They bombed them into like the Stone Age,
Yeah.
And of course, people are going to try and leave that, aren't they, to better their children's chances in life.
Yeah, well, they just ran away and let the Taliban in charge after all of that.
Of course. Yeah. So it's back to the Stone Age. Yeah.
Back to where it was. So I've got no pass it on just now. I'm going to play that just now since we're talking about it, and then we'll go into the new single after that. Will I have permission to play this? Will I get into trouble?
Just send it to me.
Ken said it's okay.
Just say I said it was all right. I'll give you. Oh, you can take it.
Right. We'll play it. We've got it here. So yes, let's listen to that then. This is No Pass It On, and it's on the new album. This is the Bluebells.
His infernal trumpet, to the right that gives strength and comfort, a dark clarion call. Disaffected charmers, racist and rearmers, self-righteous having a ball. Hey, what about the young folk watching their destruction? What do they think of it all? Looking to the future, not getting any answers, just waiting for the call. No pass around, our time will come. No pass around. No pass around, our time will come. No pass around. Reinforcing borders, building walls and towers. Is this the answer to it all? Taking war as commerce, all part of the land grab, throwing lots for the spoils. So come all ye woken, accused of being outspoken, it's time to realize we got to pull together in this inclement weather, assemble for the rise. No pass around, our time will come. No pass around. No pass around, our time will come. No pass around. About the young folk watching the destruction, what do they think of it all? Looking to the future, not getting any answers, just waiting for the call. No pass around, our time will come. No pass around. No pass around, our time will come. No pass around. No pass around, our time will come. No pass around.
Amazing stuff. Oh, hold on, I'm still playing it in the background.
Can I just say one thing? Can I dedicate that to Mr. Willie Mealy, a friend of mine who's going through a bit of a hard time. He's got cancer, bad. That's his dad in the video. There's an old man at the end like that, and you see his dad's actually in that film. So Willie's a professor at Glasgow University, retired now, and he works in the kind of English department. And his dad was in the Spanish Civil War, so that footage is from the Spanish Civil War, and he made that available for me to put that together with one of his mates, and to fit in with the sentiment of the song. So Willie's dad's there, and you'll see him as one of the guys taking the porridge or whatever it is, the gruel or whatever, and then we kind of morphed him into what he is as he was standing beside the Parashinara statue at the end. So it was really cool.
Amazing, great song. And Higgy's Maw, who I know, says, hi, Mark and Ken. I'm enjoying the stream. I've seen the Bluebells a few times. First times was Heathery Bar, Wishaw.
Oh, you're a superstar, Higgy's Maw. Higgy's Maw. Superstar was one of the first, probably the first time we ever toured as Bluebells. The Heathery Bar's in Wishaw. So me and Dave are Wishy, as you say. We're posh, we're from Bothwell, so we say Wishaw. And that was a cracking place. They used to have cracking bands in there, actually. It's not a pub anymore. I don't know what it is. It's across from the football park, remember? Yeah, that was a cracking gig. And I'll tell you what, there was a lot of people at that gig who went on to be bands from the Bells Hill scene later on. We 16-year-old boys, 17-year-old boys.
And we got Epi Mew who's saying, nice to hear and see you all. Seems like the Loudmouths in Glasgow City Chambers like to celebrate the merchant trading tobacco in a city. We got Liam Brown. Hello, Liam. And Higgs Moss says it wasn't yesterday.
I know I hadn't started dyeing my hair grey then. I had nice brown hair then. Felt like yours, Mark.
Well,
I started dyeing it grey in the night.
Why have you not got grey hair yet? I don't actually know. It's no. I've not got the just for men out just yet.
I know.
But I'm due it. I'm due it. I don't mind. I've got no problem with becoming a silver fox if so be it. Anyone going to Doon? I don't think so. I think I'm trying to finish an album and write a book. So I think I'm just going to stay rural. I'm in a rural. I'm in the Isle of Invercouthie, the fictional village of Invercouthie. So I think I'm just going to. Hopefully the weather stays like this because taking a step back to festival season.
It's a beautiful setting. That I played it once, maybe about 3-4 years ago or something like that. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful set. You must have played it a couple of times.
I did. We played and I ran a small stage there as well with the sort of the more kind of grassroots stage. And but yeah, it's the Carross Estate. I don't think I'll make it. I've been in two minds, but I think I'm just going to leave. I went to Eden Festival this year and had a great time. But I think we've pretty much been doing between 10 and 14 festivals a summer for the last 10 years or something, so or longer. So it's just been, well, apart from take lockdown out of the equation, obviously, but yeah. So it's nice to have a little summer off, a summer of free will. It's good to get back, but you are busy, so it's probably a good segue to mention the gigs that you've got coming up. A nice segue. Thanks, Stuart, for that. It is festival season, and you've got some good ones coming up. Want to tell us about where you're going to be?
Yes. Just before we go into that, see the Doon the Rabbit Hole. The guy, I think it's the guy that runs it now or whatever. He was on saying they've got a spa. I was quite intrigued what the spa will be. Will be down the river and all that. Will be like, the Turkish baths and all that. I don't know, hot coals and all that. I'm not sure. Anyway.
It looks like very fancy. It looks like very fancy glamping from the picture that I saw. So I think
glamping.
You can get because you can. It looks like more like a. I think it's a pod or something. It looked fancy, and I think there's sauna, there's spa, and I think there's maybe like a whole wellness side to it,
good.
So like for yoga.
Do you know when you start getting older and all that, I'm into like ornithology and birds and trees and all that. You know, like I go fishing and all that. But see the trees on that site, they're unbelievable, man. The trees, cypress trees, and all that. You know, I mean, they're absolutely beautiful. Anyway, I digress. First gig we're doing, just starting to rehearse now, the next couple of nights, and then next week is the 1st of August. It's Crail Festival. Crail up in East Newcastle, Fife. So it's next to Anstruther.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I've been there before, and I went there for a weekend. Absolutely stunning.
It's lovely. So that's Crail, the first one. The second gig we're doing is another festival, and it's Party at the Palace. It's Linlithgow. And again, that's a beautiful...
In the Gow.
In the Gow, that's a beautiful...
That's what the locals call it. That's what the locals say.
The Gow, yeah.
Yep.
In the Gow, and that's on the 9th. So it's a 2-day festival, so it's the 8th, and we're playing the 9th on the Sunday.
Who else is playing? Have you looked at some big names in there?
The Coral, Scary Vor,
I love
Bay City Rollers. I don't know. I think there's a few from the Jam and all that kind of stuff, or that kind of thing. But there's a few.
In the Lindisfarne a couple of years ago from the Jam.
It's a good bill. So I think there's something for everybody.
Something for everybody.
Something for everybody. So it's quite an eclectic mix, but it suits the audience. The audience is quite mixed. And you get generations. You get the grannies, the moz, the dads, and the weans. You know,
young teams out there, the families are out there. Something for it, so everyone's going to be happy. Yeah. And then
the last one, the big gig is probably the biggest gig we've ever done in Glasgow. Actually, Kelvin Grove Park on the 15th of August. And we've got there before we play, it's Friends Again, who are a band from the same area as me in Lanarkshire. They're from Bothwell as well, all those years ago. Up and coming star Alice Faye. You heard her?
Yeah.
She's brilliant, great singer-songwriter. And a great band, great local band, 3 girls and a guy called Sister John, who are also on Last Night from Glasgow. So
I know, yes, Sister John are brilliant. Yeah,
a really good band. Really good band. So it's one of this gig because it's the last Saturday. The doors are at 5 o'clock. So the first band will be on about 6:30 or some 6:15, and then every 40 minutes or whatever, there'll be a different band on. So,
and fingers crossed for this sort of weather. But
hopefully the weather's good.
Hopefully, we're not using up all the sunshine this week. By the way,
I know.
I always get a wee bit nervous when it's almost like 9 days in a row of sunshine now.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a thin line between you wanting it to be sunny for people to enjoy it. But we played Boomtown Festival a couple of years ago, and it was 36 degrees, and it was it's kind of like a sandy desert type vibe. And I didn't think I was going
to... People collapsing and all that. Yeah, that's not fun. That's not fun.
I nearly collapsed.
Even performing and seeing it's really hot. See when you're a really hot club gig or something like that, especially when you get to a certain age, it's unbelievable. You come off, you're absolutely knackered. It's like you've been, it's like you're Muhammad Ali or something like that. You've been, 13 rounds.
Do you know what changed my mind on that? What changed my mind a wee bit in that was, although he was talking about gigs, not the outdoor gigs where you're actually literally getting sunburnt, but Steve Mason for the Beta Band was saying that he was saying to me that he loves that feeling of the pure heat and the lights on you and the kind of the sweat. He says he likes that feeling. So I've actually just adopted that stance so that I can try and enjoy it. But there is a limit.
It's a good way of losing weight. Weight Watchers, get on the stage.
Well, a little bit of fight or flight and nervous as well. What's your do you get? I mean, your experience, do you still get nervous, or how do you deal with it, or do you not?
I think you should always get nervous. If you don't get nervous, it's the same as if you play football or you play a sport or you play whatever. You should always be shiting yourself a wee bit, because you start the adrenaline. You start the adrenaline going. Once you're on the stage, I'm sure everybody will tell you. You don't have it at all. You don't nervous at all. If you're good nick, you know what I mean. If you're hangover, it's a nightmare. You know what I mean. It's a nightmare. You're hanging on to the microphone. Oh, Jesus Christ, help me! You never want to be in that situation. I'll tell you a funny one, man. There was a band I was kind of looking after once, and they were big tokers. They were toking away there, but it was that mad skunk stuff. And I was like, look, guys, don't do that before you go on stage. Honestly, I've been doing this for a long time. Really don't do it. Right? Really don't do it. So they did it. And one of them went on stage and went like that to the audience. What are you looking at?
Sorry, say that again. I think you just cut out there a wee bit, man. Sorry.
It was
Who's on stage and what?
He said, what are you all looking at? I'm like, oh, no. Anyway, that's funny aside. But no, since my brother and I were kids, like, so our parents were kind of folkies, and we used to have a wee council house and we had big fucking parties, and we had 40 people in the living room, and our older brothers, the three above us, and they were all sent to guitar lessons and all that, and we weren't. And then when they were 14 or 15, they would play a song at my mum and dad's parties, all guys with beards and banjos and all that, in the 60s, late 60s. And they would stay up when they were maybe 12, 13, they would play a song, Country Road, Take Me Home, or whatever. And then when they got to 14, they're like, that's a brass neck, I'm not doing that, right? But we never got to that stage. So when the guitars were handed out to us, we never went to lessons or anything like that. We just learned off their chord sheets and watching Top of the Pops and where the guys' fingers were and all that. Look at that. So when it got to our turn, we never got to that stage when you're 14, you don't want to do it anymore. You're like, fucking yes, men giving you money and all that, a can of beer and all that. We're like, yeah, keep going. So because it was two of us and we were close together in age, we kind of backed each other up. So you're not on your own, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh no, it's a night, you've got to sing a song. We're like, well, let's do a song. The guys give you money and all that. So we never had that terrible. I know a few especially singers, terrible time stage fright and all that, but we never actually had that, and it was because it was kind of ingrained in us, so it was natural for us to perform.
Yeah. And
the older brothers and sisters went, oh, you're just showing off. We're like, give a monkeys, you know what I mean? Showing off, okay, I'm a show off, who cares? A man just gave me 10 bob.
Well, do you know, I didn't get any stage. I've had stage fright a couple of times, but it was after lockdown, I think. See, by not doing it, because I was just always doing stuff.
Yeah.
Just it never really occurred to me. And obviously, you do get the wee nerves before the game, but the big match.
You should always have nerves just before, because you're always thinking, are the drums there? Is the guitar there? Is the blah blah blah? Are the harmonicas out there? Is the tambourine there? Are the set lists out there? So you just do a quick, you know, that way you're doing your quick. Is that done? Is that done? And fortunately, we've got roadies now who are very good, and they know exactly what I need. He needs that. He needs that. He needs that. He needs a bottle of water or a beer or whatever it is.
I've not roadies. Roadies would help. I think what happened was the time I got to stage fright was actually, you talked about that at Doon. It was a few years ago, and just after, I think it was like the year after lockdown or something, and it was, it just felt a wee bit out of practice, so felt a wee bit underprepared. And I'd been running a stage all weekend, and this was a massive stage. We were on the big stage about midnight, and we'd been swapped with some big names. So we were on after, I think, with Warm Dusher and Yard Act. So it was like two big bands that we were on after. And
I was there. That's all that.
And so I think I'd ran out of cortisol, see, because, you know, behind the scenes it was chaos, man. So by the time I went on, do you know that nerves, you know, the adrenaline, there was no adrenaline left to kick in.
That's a terrible thing.
It was a very unique experience. It's only ever happened once, but then a couple of times after that, I was worried that might happen again, but it's not actually happened again. I've got over it now. But
I've only had it once, and as you say, see when you're doing too many things.
Yeah.
When you do too many things. So the only time it ever happened to me, I was quite young. It was in America. We were flying everywhere, and we were stopped in Minneapolis. And the snow was up to the, you know, it was really cold at -40 or something like that, right? So the flight couldn't take off. And we were going to New York, and we made it by the skin of our teeth to the gig. But I was like, we're never going to make this gig. And it was a really big gig, and the record company were coming, Sire Records, Seymour Stein, he's dead famous, blah, blah, blah. He's coming, and we were signed to them and all that. And it was like, oh, and it's the Peppermint Lounge, and it's all cool, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, we're not going to, and we made it. And see, by the time we got on stage, I was absolutely knackered, man. I was holding on to the mic like that. Oh, so I could hardly stand. And we were shite. Because I didn't have time to be nervous. We were just like, we really let ourselves, but it wasn't really us that let ourselves down. It was just timing and bad luck and snow and blah, blah, blah. And we were absolutely, no sleep, just absolutely knackered.
And what was it?
We're on at midnight.
When you say you were shite, were you actually shite, or was the crowd? Did the crowd respond in a way that you knew that?
No,
you were
but
shite?
you can tell. I just thought we were lackadaisical. I thought there was no spark. We were all the same. We were all knackered.
Yeah,
we were all like that. We wanted to go to bed, man. We were exhausted. We were really exhausted because we'd been up for like 24 hours, and then we were on at 12:30. The next day, something like midnight, after midnight. And we were like that. I was nearly grating, because I couldn't get the I couldn't get the adrenaline.
Too tired. Adrenaline.
Oh, Jesus Christ! And I was like, and it was our last gig in America, and I'm like, shite. So that was the end of that. That was the end of that. But when you're doing too much, you're too busy because you still have time to relax and time to chill out. Eat properly is the most important thing, and then you've got the power and have that wee natural adrenaline rush, which you should have.
A very big breakfast. Because obviously we know
you like fuck.
That. You eat. I eat early on in the day because I don't know. It's not even like, not even overly nervous. It's just that my appetite just disappears. Maybe a bit. I think we're about sound check. I find it hard to. The gig.
I like a hefty lunch. And then I don't eat till afterwards. Because the other thing is, see with the support band, like, so we toured with people like Elvis Costello, we had the support band, you playing the Apollo or whatever, Haircut 100, all these bands.
What was Elvis Costello like?
He's brilliant. He produced a lot of the tracks to their first album. He was really good. He was like a teacher. He could have taught me to use a microphone. So, you get these big Neumann microphones. He's like that. He's got a bit of a Scouse accent because he's from Liverpool, but he's kind of posh Liverpool. So I said, but I'll try it. He went, Ken, say your mic, don't sing into the mic. Sing across the mic, because he says, you get the same as me. He says, I'm from Liverpool and I sing a fucking planet. Wait to the cathedral. Sing through my nose. Do you know what I mean? And you're singing through your throat. So he taught me how to sing from here.
The diaphragm trick.
No, 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 no. So he taught me how to sing from there and not use your nose. Because if you're from Lanarkshire, you tend to talk through your nose. I went to a singing teacher once, Mrs. Cotter, and she says, me and David at the same time, and it was all that, all that. And it wasn't to be a better singer, it was so you could have longevity on tour, so you didn't lose your voice, basically. And the first thing she said to us, we went into her room, a nice posh house, she said, what part of Lanarkshire are you boys from? And I was like, you cheeky bastard. I thought, that's cheek. And she says, and then she was like, she dropped her accent, she says, because I'm from Coatbridge. And she says, you speak the exact same way as me, you're speaking through your nose. Stop speaking through your nose. I probably speak through my nose just now, you know what I mean? But there's a bit of vocal comes out your nose. So if you sing across the mic, so the mic's like that, flat, open there, you sing across it. It takes that out of it.
La la
So it's
la
like, la, 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 la.
la la.
Yeah.
I had one
So he was a good teacher. He was a good
one
teacher.
lesson too, and it's amazing just what you can learn in one session.
Oh, I think so.
Because it's I had to do it because I had a throat operation, so I was made to do it. I couldn't talk for a month. Can you believe that?
Did you have nodules?
Vocal polyp. A vocal polyp.
Polyps, yeah.
And they said it was maybe. They said it can be caused by 4 things. 1, talking too much, guilty of that. 2, drinking and smoking too much, guilty of that. 3, performing live without vocal warm-ups. I've never had vocal warmed up in my life, and we were touring. Or the 4th one, it might just be genetic, but I don't think anybody else has had a vocal polyp. So I think I've got to take the blame for that one. But it was quite interesting to learn, because after that lesson, I wasn't aware that I could hit such high notes quite easily.
Absolutely.
But I didn't really bring it into my live performance, because I was like, that was about an hour of warming up, so I don't want to be I don't want to be singing something that.
Oh no, you're not your voice. Oh no, 10 minutes.
I'm quite happy with my 2 notes. I've got a low note and I've got a slightly less lower note, and it's fine for what I do. It's fine for what I do.
But I think also the couple of exercises, you probably can't see here, but just like breathe in.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale like that, but standing up. Standing up, touch your toes, the whole thing, and this is all full. So you're not using that.
Yeah, you know when you're doing it. I've felt it before, because see when you're singing through your nose as well, you know, the band that you're kind of doing is kind of sort of variation of punk, a wee bit punky at times, and it's quite fast and quite wordy. And see if you're if you're a wee bit nervous and you start doing it, I felt it, and it's exhausting. So I know when I'm doing it, because you should be free on that stage. You should feel natural. Absolutely. Everything should be muscle memory and just becoming automatically and enjoyable. So it should be, there is usually a diaphragm, but luckily I'm okay.
Well, I'm from the same background as you, punk rock, so our first bands will be punk rock. We're not going to walk about like good. We're not going to stairs at the 13th note or something.
On a 12 bill all day. Who's the nicest? I want to play your new single before we go, but let's do a wee name drop, because you said Elvis Costello. That's a good name drop. Who's the nicest person in rock and roll you've met? Who's somebody that's nice? I don't like bitching about people. So is there somebody that is quite famous that you thought was dead nice? Because I know some people just, the more famous they get, they just become arseholes, and it's because they're kind of. I'll tell
you what, right? This guy. This was before I was in the Bluebells or whatever, right? But when I was 17, I went to London. I hitched it to London with a demo tape from a band called Rodeo, right? With my brother, a guy called Donald Kerr, a guy called Dixie Deans. And we were all from Bournemouth. So we made this tape in Straven. And we thought it was quite good. So I thought, well, I'll go to London and try and get a record deal. So being a dafty, I hitched it. It took me about 3 days, right? I could have got a stagecoach that would take me 8 hours. You know what I mean? Like, I was up by the time we got there. Anyway, so I took it around a few places. They weren't really that interested in it. So I just stayed and I got a job. And I got a job cleaning fridges and cookers in this place. It was a place in right across in Nashville, which is where the Sex Pistols played and all that. It's West Kensington. West Kensington sounds posh. It's not. It's next to Fulham and all that, the Hammersmith. Right? So across the road there was a shop, and it had loads of second-hand fridges and cookers outside it. It was a corner shop. And my brother says, go and try in there. I know the guys in there. My older brother was there at the time. So I went in, and it was all Scottish guys, apart from one guy who worked here. And he says, don't bother me, man. Go and put on the rubber suit. I'm like, what? So it's a rubber suit, right, like that. Pure rubber, blah, blah, big gloves and all that, big mask and all that. And you got a cooker. So they get cookers from the LEB. There used to be an advert that says, if you hand in your old cooker, you get £5 off your new cooker. The LEB, they did the same thing in the SSEB, Scottish, blah, blah, or your old fridge, and blah, blah. Anyway, they put these in the big junkyard. But the Scottish guys knew the Scottish guy who was the Janny in the junkyard. So we used to go with a big lorry and take the best ones and then clean them up. Anyway, the old guy who was not Scottish there was called Luther Grosvenor. And he was in a band called Mott the Hoople. And he'd kind of fallen in, times, a wee bit hard times. He basically had kids, and he wasn't in a band anymore. He had 3 kids or whatever. And he didn't have any money. And he had been mental in the early 70s. So he was a kind of pop, prog, rock guy. He'd been Spooky Tooth, and he'd been all these different bands. And he was the best guy I ever met as a rocker, ex-rocker, very humble. And he really encouraged me because I'd got out of music. I'd been in this punk band. No happening with the demo tape. I told him, I played him it, and he went, it's all right. He said, but what you need to keep doing, it. So a couple of times we'd go to this pub and play a wee gig or whatever. So he kept me in music. So I'd probably have stayed in London and never come back home or whatever, And so Luther Grosvenor, his name was Ariel Bender. His nickname was Ariel Bender in Mott the Hoople. And you know why he's called Ariel Bender? I said, why are you called Ariel Bender? Why was your name in Mott the Hoople Ariel Bender? and he had a bit of a country accent. He's from Evesham, and he went, "Oh, one night it was a party in Lindsay DePaul's house, and I bent the aerial for Jensen Interceptor." He bent the aerial for water just out of badness because he was getting chucked out of the party. So he's called the aerial bender. That's it. But he's my hero. I love him. He's still alive, by the way. He's got an album out and all that. It's great.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. And you do a little bit of music. Sort of, I don't exactly know. I know that you have been involved in college, sort of education side of things. Are you still doing that just now, or
no? I retired from that maybe a year ago.
A year ago.
So I worked at Stowe College.
Yeah,
and it's called Music Business Management. They had a record label called Electric Honey. So
I know. Yeah, Electric Honey have done some great stuff over the years. For people that don't know, it's kind of like it's a record label that the students kind of sort of take over. They
kind of take over, and we just kind of managed their ideas.
Some big names have come through.
Biffy Clyro, first record. Snow Patrol, first record. Bell and Sebastian's first record. They were all a wee bit before I started there. So I started there about 1987. No, I didn't. I went to university in 1987. I came down, 1997. I came out in 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got a job there, right? So I was working with Alan Rankin and the Associates guy, Douglas McIntyre, who's now in our band. And so it was great. It was a good way. The record label was a good vehicle of showing people how music works. So you've got to have something that can maybe go on the radio, good chance, maybe of a commercial or whatever. Not too obscure. Maybe, and then you design the sleeve and you record the record, and then you talk to the band and what do they want and all that, as much as you possibly can. And then you put it out and you market it and see how many you sell. And it's quite hard. But sometimes it works.
It's very difficult. Sometimes it works.
At that time, like just before me, they had a huge budget, man. They had like 20 grand or something like that, right? 20 grand in 1985, 4, 3, when they were putting out Bell and Sebastian, Biffy Clyro.
Was Tiger Milk?
A lot of money, man.
Tiger Milk, I think that was, if I'm right.
Tiger Milk. Aye, Tiger Milk was 93. They spent a fortune on it. So by the time I got there, they had 5 grand.
Yeah.
It's a big difference between 20 grand and 5 grand 10 years later. You know what I mean?
You picked an interesting time to start educating people about the music industry, because it's almost unrecognisable from the 90s.
Well, the whole thing is profile and all that. Is that it's we don't know everything. My experiences would be completely different from any young musician starting off. Now, you know what I mean? But there'd be certain things that would be similar. You still got a record deal, you still got a publishing deal, you still get marketing, you still got to do promotion, you still got to do live gigs. I know loads of people who are fantastic musicians, but they're bedroom musicians, they never go out and play. Nobody's going to hear you. So you've got to find an alternative route. That way, maybe use social media or whatever. But I think the best way still is live. The live experience. See, the more that people work in call centres and have shit jobs, because there's not that many good jobs about, not that many, right, for your average person.
I've done the shit call centres. I
know, everybody has done the shit. They're really shit, yeah. I'd rather clean fridges, you know what I mean? So I think if you do one of them things, you want to escape at the weekend, you want to go and see a band, you want to go to the pub and go, let's go to the, whatever it is, the Barrowlands or whatever gig it is, you want to get out there, or a club, or you want to go to some club, or you want to go, and these places are still about. And no matter what type of music you're into, it could be dance music, it could be reggae music, it could be hip hop, you can find your niche and have your release. Because music is a great thing for being involved in. It's a great community thing. You can build your own community with music. And enjoy it and travel with it as well. If you play in a festival, you play a festival around the corner in Kilburn or whatever, in a brilliant time. It's possible. It's possible. These things are possible. Maybe playing Glastonbury's a wee bit in the background. That's maybe a couple of years off.
Oh, you can play Glastonbury, but they won't give you a free ticket. That's how close we got to Glastonbury. We got offered the gig, but we needed to pay for our own ticket. You can't even. We didn't have a budget for that, and you can't even buy a ticket.
No, we played Glastonbury last year, which is brilliant actually. Played the acoustic stage, but it was huge. I'd played it maybe about 92 as McCluskey Brothers. So I kind of knew roughly what it is, but it's totally corporate now. It's, when I was there in 93, it was all guys, ease, whiz, fucking blah, 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 Scousers selling stuff and all that. Sorry, Scousers, but they were. And it was manky and it was all, it was mental, right? Mental. It's very corporate now. You wouldn't get dirty. It was dead sunny. Not saying that's corporate, but it just happened to be sunny. There's track weight over the whole thing. So there's you're never going to get muddy boots. There's nobody selling drugs because everybody brings their own drugs. It's very middle class. It's, hello there, Samantha and all that, blah, blah, blah. It's very south of England as well. Very south, very home counties. But for that, it was fantastic. And I had to buy tickets for my kids. So I'm like, can I get a couple of tickets for the kids? I'm like, no. 400 quid each. Two of them. One's 19 and one's 21.
So they keep a couple of...
800 quid.
So there's a couple of... spare tickets that you can buy if you're an artist in that at that level, sort of thing.
Aye, so there's still 400 quid each, right? But you know what? That was their holidays that year.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I said to them, like, guys, we're not going on any holidays, right?
It's once in a lifetime. That's your lifetime. Going to Glastonbury. I mean, I think I've still not been there. The closest I've been is at Boomtown, which is a sort of, I think, not quite on the scale of Glastonbury, but comparatively huge.
Big, yeah.
They do an incredible job of the art. They just built an entire town for it. And but yes, so we've that's an hour and 10 minutes has flown by, mate. It's been a pleasure. We've got the fishing song lined up. So tell us about what is it about fishing?
Right, I go fishing. Right, I go down to Kelvin. I go down to Clyde. I've got a permit, honestly, right. But no, the fishing song is just. It's about, right, it was basically about me and my wife, right? And it could be any relationship. And you know that way, you said that, you fucking did that, you did that. And you're getting a wee bit touchy with each other and all that. And you're like, you know what? Let's just go fishing, man. And go over it and forget, like, I said that and you said that and blah, blah. Forgiveness. It's about forgiveness, really.
Amazing. And
even though you're a dick.
And so you're fishing. So you go fishing at the Kelvin, and you're going to play the Kelvin Grove Bandstand, which is
yes.
I've never played before, but I've been at many gigs there over the last few years and since they've reopened it, and it's an amazing atmosphere. So that'll be cracking. The 15th of August. I've got a couple of comments actually from I think Liam has confirmed he's going to go. Yes, I will come to the Kelvin Grove Bandstand, says Liam. Love Heart for Mary, and it was 1983 that I think that you played in Wishy and Creole.
It would have been.
Shout outs to Higgiesmore. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in, and go and check out the new album. This is the Bluebells. It is available everywhere, but buy the physical for Last Night from Glasgow or your local record shop. Support your local record shop. Unless you stay really far away for a record shop, then support your really far away record shop.
Monorail's got it. Love Music, any of the ones in Glasgow. I don't know the other towns. Europa Music if you're in Stirling. Avalanche, I think, if you're in Edinburgh. Apart from that, I don't know any record shops.
Amazing. Ken, it's been a pleasure. Let's
cheers. Always
play the fishing song to take us out, and I'll hopefully see you on the 15th at the bandstand.
I say hello, now we have no place to go. Your inhibition stifles my ambition. Tide's coming in, it's time to go. But you know how the water flows. Intuition beats my hapless cognition. Let's hit the road. Just pick me up and drive away. Just drive away. It's been so long since I felt free. I got the weight of the world on me. stressed by repetition. It's time to go, I'm feeling rough. I stayed up late last night writing stuff, an act of contrition. It's part of my condition. Let's hit the road on a summer day. Just pick me up and drive away. Just drive away. I'll take you fishing tonight. We'll watch the fish rise for the fly. You say hi, I say low. Now we have no place to go. Your inhibition stifles my ambition. Tide's coming in, it's time to go. But you know how the water flows. Intuition beats by half blood cognition. Let's hit the road on a summer day. Just pick me up and drive